Let me explain to you why this is one of the most self-destructive things a defendant can possibly do. The prosecutor is the person who decides what charges to pursue, what plea deals are offered, how hard to push for the maximum sentence. Writing threatening letters to your prosecutor is like setting fire to your own house, and then asking the fire department for sympathy. Slight pause. Let them absorb this analogy. But it gets worse. Much worse. Studio microphone section 4. The letters. 2:30 to 4 o'clock. Lower your voice. More serious. When Mr. H appeared before the judge for his bond hearing, the prosecutor revealed the letters, and the judge read them. Right there in open court. Now I want you to hear exactly what the judge said after reading those letters, because this is where the hearing becomes extraordinary. The judge looked at Mr. H and said, and I am reading his exact words now, those letters filled with insults and threats are not just rude. They can actually affect how the court evaluates risk, public safety, and whether someone should remain in custody before trial. Pause. Look at camera. As a lawyer, let me translate what the judge just said. He is saying, your behavior outside this courtroom is now evidence inside this courtroom. Every threatening word you wrote is now a document in front of me, and it is telling me exactly who you are. Pause. Then the judge said something that I personally found extraordinary. He said, it is only a small man who uses those words against a woman or against anyone. Those words do not make you strong. They make you weak. Pause 3 seconds. Look down, then back up. I have been in law for many years. I have read hundreds of court transcripts. I have rarely heard a judge speak to a defendant with that kind of directness, that kind of humanity, that kind of moral clarity. He did not just rule on a legal point. He spoke to Mr. H as a human being, as a man, as a son, as someone who still had a chance to choose differently. Studio microphone section 5, the mother moment. 4 to 5:30, emotional, slower pace. This is the most human part. Then the judge asked Mr. H a question, a simple question. but one of the most powerful questions I have ever heard asked in a courtroom. He said, "Sir, you have a mother. Do you love your mother?" Mr. H said, "Yes." And the judge said, "How would you like it if somebody wrote those words to your mother?" Pause. Let this hang in the air for 3 seconds. Mr. H said, "I would not like it." Then the judge said, "Then what were you thinking?" Pause. Very slow and deliberate. And Mr. H, for the first time in that hearing, gave an honest answer. He said, "I was angry. The case has been at a standstill for 1.5 years. I know it is not a good excuse. I just been in a dark space mentally." Pause. Now, as a lawyer, I want to stop here and say something important. That answer, right there, was the most honest and human thing Mr. H said in that entire hearing. And it came too late, because the letters were already written. The damage was already done. This is a lesson that every single person watching this needs to understand. Your anger is not your enemy. What you do with your anger, that is what destroys you.
Section 6. The final letter. 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Build tension again. Lower voice. Just when it seemed things could not get worse for Mr. H, the prosecutor revealed one final letter. A letter that had not yet been read into the record, written in January, in capital letters. I will not read the exact words here, but the meaning was clear. Mr. H had written a direct physical threat to the prosecutor, in capital letters. Underlined. Deliberate. Pause. Look directly into camera. The judge looked at that letter and said 3 words. Bond is revoked. Pause 4 seconds. Complete silence. Not reduced. Not reconsidered. Not postponed. Revoked. Mr. H would remain in custody. Not just until trial, but with a very real possibility of additional contempt charges, adding 93 days for every single future letter. He came to court to get out of jail. He left deeper IN than when he arrived. Studio microphone section 7. The judge's most powerful words. 7 to 9 o'clock. This is the emotional peak of your video. Speak slowly. But here is what makes this hearing truly extraordinary. Even after revoking the bond, the judge did not stop. He spoke to Mr. H not as a criminal, not as a case number, but as a human being who was destroying his own life. The judge said, "I am here every day. Law enforcement will call me on vacation. The jail will call me 24/7. If you had a problem, you tell the sheriff. We are going to help you." Pause, look at camera. Think about that for a moment. The judge, the most powerful person in that room, is telling the defendant, "We were available to help you. You did not need to write those letters. You had options." Then he said, "You are going to work with community mental health. See medical, psychological. Go to treatment. Get some help." And then, the most powerful line in the entire hearing. "This has not made me happy to do this to you, but I don't know what else to do. We have public safety, and I am fearful if I were to let you out again, it would get worse." Pause 4 seconds. Emotional pause. As a lawyer, I want you to understand something about what just happened. This judge did not want to punish Mr. H. He wanted to help him. He recognized the anger. He recognized the pain. He recognized a young man in a dark place. But he also had a responsibility to the community, to the prosecutor who had been threatened, to the system that requires basic respect. And so, he did what judges sometimes must do. He made the hard decision, the right decision, the painful decision. Studio microphone section 8. The no contact order. 9 to 10:30, lighter moment. Almost with a smile, the judge had humor. At the end of the hearing, the judge issued a no contact order. And I have to say, the way he explained it was extraordinary. He looked directly at Mr. H and said, "No contact means they do not exist in your world. No carrier pigeon, no smoke signal, no Hallmark cards, no letters, phone calls, email, text, contact with third parties. They do not exist in your world." Smile slightly, this judge had personality. No carrier pigeon, no smoke signal, no Hallmark cards. This judge made a legal order sound like a conversation between a wise father and a stubborn son. He could have just read the standard legal language. Instead, He made sure Mr. H actually understood, and that, in my professional opinion as a lawyer, is what separates a good judge from a great one. Studio microphone section 9, my legal analysis. 10:30 to 12 o'clock. Back to professional mode. Educational. Clear. Now, let me give you my professional analysis of what happened in that courtroom today. As a lawyer, there are 5 critical lessons from this hearing. Lesson 1. Everything you write is evidence. Mr. H's letters were written outside the courtroom, but they became the most important evidence inside the courtroom. In the modern world, every text message, every letter, every email you send during a legal case can and will be used against you. Lesson 2. Anger is your worst legal advisor. Mr. H was angry. His anger was understandable, but his anger destroyed his bond request, put him at risk of contempt charges, gave the prosecutor more power, and made the judge view him as a danger to public safety. His anger did not help him. It imprisoned him further. Lesson 3. Judges are human beings. This judge showed us something remarkable. He was firm, he was fair, but he was also deeply human. He talked about Mr. H's mother. He expressed genuine sadness about revoking the bond. He ordered mental health treatment, not as punishment, but as help. Great judges do not just apply the law. They apply wisdom. Lesson 4. Respect the process even when it is slow. Mr. H said the case had been going for a year and a half. That is genuinely frustrating. But the legal system has a process, and that process, as slow and imperfect as it is, exists to protect everyone, including Mr. H. Attacking the process does not speed it up. It buries you deeper. Lesson 5. The quickest way out is good behavior. The judge said it perfectly. The quickest way to get out of jail is to behave. Start working on your rehabilitation. Talk to your attorney. These are not just words. This is the only genuine path forward for Mr. H. Studio microphone section 10. Closing. 12 to 13:30. Back to direct camera. Warm but serious. Sincere. I want to end with something personal. When I read this transcript, I did not feel anger toward Mr. H. I felt something closer to sadness, because I could see a young man who was clearly suffering, who was clearly in pain, who had clearly made mistake after mistake. Not because he was evil, but because he did not know how to handle what he was going through. And I could see a judge who genuinely wanted to help him, but who had been left with no choice. Pause, look down, then back up. The law is not always about punishment. Sometimes it is about showing someone the consequences of their own choices before those choices become permanent. This judge tried to do that today. Whether Mr. H was listening, only time will tell. Pause 3 seconds. But I will tell you this. In 23 years on the bench, this judge has probably seen thousands of defendants, and the ones who walked out of that courtroom free were not the ones with the best lawyers. They were the ones who understood one simple truth. Respect the process. Control your anger. Let the truth speak. Because in the end, the law always sees everything. Pause 3 seconds. Final pause. My name is Karamat Hussein Janjua. I am a lawyer, and I share these stories because understanding the law and understanding human behavior inside the law can change your life. If this breakdown helped you, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video with one person today, and leave me a comment below. What did you think of this judge? I will see you in the next case.